listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from in the world. This is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I have a story to tell. We are live streaming, as always, on Business Talk Radio and social media. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation coach. And my guest today is a phenomenal man. He has put together an empire that is so inspiring that I can't wait to have him on. I'm not going to wait any longer. His name is Earl Heard. Earl, welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me, Dr. Jacalyn. Looking forward to our interview.
Fantastic. So Earl, where do I start? Earl is the founder and CEO of BIC Alliance, which is business and industry communications. And it includes BIC Media Solutions, which is a custom publishing, event planning, and media investment company. You have published, you have networked, you have written, you have established a media platform, television, you have so much. So let's just start off with, what would you say out of everything that you've done is your most prized accomplishment?
Well, I believe my most prized accomplishment is the fact that we've been able to establish a brand that not only helps connect business and industry people with one another for mutual benefit, but we've also been able to help change a lot of lives for the better. And of course, my faith and I believe in perseverance. And these are all things that we're very proud of because now we have the resources to help others.
Thank you, Earl. Thank you for sharing that. I want to talk about a number of your accomplishments. And then because we are on this show, I have a story to tell. I'd really like to focus on your own personal journey. One of your TV shows, publications is Rock Bottom and Back. And I happened to be able to watch that with my mother. And it was extremely well done, extremely well directed, produced, and the acting was tremendous. And I know to put something like that together, it changes so many people's lives to hear about the journey other people have taken. What inspired you to take on that project?
Well, I went to rock bottom when I was about 40 years old. And I had to start off literally at the bottom, financially, spiritually, professionally. And so I have a lot of empathy for people that have to start off from rock bottom. And a lot of people don't realize, Dr. Jacalyn, but rock bottom does not just have to be from addiction or gambling or some of the many vices, but it can also be within your own family and also business-wise. I think only 1 in 10 businesses succeed the first time. So I wanted a book, and by the way, I did a book and a video on it that interviewed all different walks of people, from high-level entrepreneurs to people that were, prostitutes. And our goal was to show people that not only can you come back, but you can come back stronger based on your experience. But with that comes an obligation to try to help others get up from rock bottom.
Very well said. And I'm wondering, I mean, obviously there's a theme throughout the program, but how important do you feel that it is that you have faith? that you have a connection, that you believe in God, or you believe in a higher power to help you when you are rock bottom?
Well, as it relates to your faith, I think that's the cornerstone of my life now. But I was raised in the church. I went to church, but I can't say I was a person of faith. But that changed about 22 years ago. I got mugged and left for dead over here in Houston. And I really thought I was going to die that night. And I promised the Lord that if I lived, then I'd dedicate the rest of my life to his service. And that's what happened.
And things changed from there, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I've actually, my wife and I were married 19 years, and then we were divorced from 1983 to 87. But now we've been remarried for 38 years. So it's a total of 52 years. So getting my family back together was also one of the things I'm happiest about.
Well, congratulations on that. That's beautiful. So it sounds like you hit rock bottom in several ways, and you personally know what it's like when you have to bring your family back together.
It took me 15 years. I was a training manager in a big oil ethyl corporation. And when I left there to form my first company, which is a video production, from that time in 1980 to 1995, it took me 15 years to get back to the salary I was making when I left Ethel Corporation. And I can't say it happened by myself. So many people believed in us, and I'd made a promise that I was either going to get back on my feet or die working. I heard work wouldn't kill you, so I said, I'm going to find out.
I love that. And, I want our audience to know exactly what it is that you've accomplished, because you truly have created an empire. And I'd like to play your clip, if that's okay.
Oh, good.
All right, let's take a look.
We have a very special guest to introduce, Earl Heard, who is the CEO and founder of BIC Alliance, a Houston-based company which publishes BIC Magazine, North America's largest multi-industry, multi-departmental energy and construction publication. Semi-retired, Earl has a passion in life to find greater faith, hope, peace, happiness, and success by creating media that matters, which is why in 2005 he launched BIC Media Solutions, a media and entertainment company for the sole purpose of creating and producing inspirational, entertaining, family and family-friendly books, films, and television series. Earl is the author of 7 books, executive producer of 2 feature films, and a creator of 4 television series, including The Boomer Connection. At age 77, Earl is definitely just hitting his stride in his career and creating better relationships at home, in his work, and in his community, producing inspirational shows like this one.
And our next guest is none other than Earl Heard. Earl is the founder of BIC Alliance and the publisher of BIC Magazine. It's a multi-industry energy magazine. He's also the creator of Boomer Connection. This is a story about seniors by seniors. And Earl, what gave you the idea to start Boomer Connection?
BIC Magazine is 36 years old, but the last 15 years, I've been very blessed that my son-in-law can run all the companies, so I got into publishing custom books and movies and television shows, and being 77 myself, I felt like that there was such a need for some TV show where people could learn about seniors from seniors. And there's 74 million in the country. It's a very affluent market. They watch television about 4 times more than other people, the other generations, but there's very little content to, for seniors to learn about everything from succession planning to health and fitness, when I started doing inspirational books and movies back in 2005, well, then I kind of picked out some things that I felt like there was lacking that we could fill a void. And so this is about my third project. I've done a couple of movies, about 10 books, but this particular one, I got to researching this senior market. And we watch television about 4 times more than others.
Right.
It's a very affluent market, but there's very little, I think 78 million seniors above 60 and 110 above 50. And so I thought, well, this is a good thing to do. Plus, it's not just for the seniors, it's for the caregivers. If that's not networking, I don't know what is. I enjoyed watching that.
I enjoyed watching you watch it also, and I loved watching it myself. I love when you just did that chuckle. That was just so authentic.
Yeah.
So I really want our audience to know that this is not the only interview we have scheduled because there's so much to talk about. We have to have you back several times. So I'd like to have you take us back to before there was an empire. And you sat down, you were walking, something happened, you came up with an idea. What was the first idea that you had that led to the building of this foundation that you have?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Dr. Jacalyn, and for that I'm going to go all the way back to my youth. When I was young, I was kind of a slow learner, and I had an experience when I was about 10 or 12 years old. Most young people learn how to swim when they're 8 or 9. Well, I didn't know how to swim till I was like 12 or 13. And this lifeguard saw me at the swimming pool one day and asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I can't swim. He said, well, can you listen? And so I said, yes. And so he stopped right there, got it trained me, and he said, listen, you do what I tell you and you practice, and one day you'll be a lifeguard. Well, that was like going to the moon, you know, for me back in the 50s. And, but I did, but that gave me a passion for helping train others because I saw how it affected me. And so when I went into industry in 1965, well, then I made up my mind I was going to learn as much as I can. I believed in having mentors. I worked on the shifts where they had the most senior people so I could learn, and that way I was able to advance from, you know, an operator to a foreman, and then a general foreman, and then a training manager. And at that point I'd learned enough and decided that one thing we definitely needed in the energy business was a way to connect the people from drilling and exploration with refining and petrochemical and production and pipelines. There was no publication that really connected all these different sectors. And so I decided to start one, and that was the foundation of BIC Magazine.
And I think that the fact that it started when you were so young, that these ideas started to formulate, and then at some point you were derailed and you were talking about rock bottom. So I always like to just make a correlation for our audience, because again, people see everything that you've accomplished. We just showed your sizzle reel, and they think, you know what, I'll never be able to do anything. I'm never going to be able to take the first step. But yet you did take the first step, and then you took another step, and then another one, and so on and so on. So we're going to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. But when we come back, I'd like to just for a minute have you touch on the fact, if someone's at rock bottom, what can they do? We talked about faith. What are some other things that people can do to get themselves back on track? Does that sound okay?
Great. I'd love to talk about that.
Okay, perfect. We're going to hear from a couple of our sponsors. We'll be right back.
It's what we do together that counts. The BIC Alliance story. A true story about faith over adversity, perseverance, and entrepreneurship. Read Earl's story and how he became an entrepreneur. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible.com. For more information, contact Earl Heard at earlheard@bicalliance.com or call 1-800-460-4242.
The world is changing. The world is changing, and your company needs to change with it. Whether it's procurement, employment, marketing, or customer service, it's now more important than ever for your business processes to be inclusive to people with disabilities. Hi, I'm Trish Robichaud with Changing Paces, and I'm here to tell you that making your business processes accessible to people with disabilities is simply good for business. Accessibility and inclusion are the law. But here's what you may not realize. Disability inclusion is an opportunity, not an obstacle. In fact, a recent 4-year study found that companies that fully embraced disability inclusion had a 30% higher profit margin than those that didn't. Your investment in staff disability inclusiveness training can pay off in areas like innovation, brand recognition, as well as customer and employee satisfaction and loyalty, not to mention productivity and profitability. At Changing Paces, we can help you make that happen for your business. Our experts have real-life experience that will help your team gain insight and best practices they won't get anywhere else. And we can help you create a customized training program to bring your organization into compliance with local and industry regulations. This topic is very close to my heart for me, very personal. Dealing with the challenges of MS for the past 25 plus years and having lost my job as a result of my diagnosis back then, I've made it my mission to bring disability out of the darkness and create a more welcoming environment for people of all abilities. As a pioneer in the field of inclusiveness, our company developed and implemented one of the first accessible customer service training programs in Canada. We provide complete online training solutions that blend with your branding, your policies, and your systems. Between our disability subject matter experts and our technical partners, we can provide you with both the content and the platform that you need to create an evergreen training program that empowers your people while it transforms your organization and your company culture. In short, we make disability inclusion easy in all parts of your business. Contact us now for a quote or consultation at info@changingpaces.com. Your bottom line will thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hi, welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I have a story to tell. My guest is Earl Heard, and he is the CEO and founder of BIC Alliance. He's established an empire, but it wasn't always this way. He's overcome his own adversity, and he's here on the first of several shows where he's going to share with us how he did what he did. So, Earl, I'd like to just talk for a few minutes to our audience, people who are out there who are struggling, and they know we need to have faith. They know they need to be positive. What other steps can they take based on your own experience?
Well, I really appreciate you asking this question, because this applies to not only people at rock bottom, but anybody that wants to move forward in their life. And I would say the first thing, talking especially like from being at rock bottom, is you have, in other words, we can't help what comes into our mind, but we can decide how long it stays there. So the first thing, you got to be positive. You got to stay positive regardless of the worst thing that happened. And even when something bad does happen, think about what you can learn from it to make sure it doesn't happen again. So number one, stay positive. Number two, even though we're at rock bottom, we still know people. Some people we need to avoid if we're going to move out of where we are, and others we need to learn from and try to use them as role models. And so that's why I'm really big into networking. I think networking is one of the cornerstones for not only coming back from rock bottom, but also building your future. And I personally believe that we should try to say one nice thing to at least 3 different people every day, not that they're expecting it, and give at least 3 referrals a day. And once you start referring others, it's self-perpetuating. People will start introducing you to others. But you've got to put that me first attitude. That's got to go to rock bottom. And you got to make others first if you want to get off rock bottom.
I love those tips that you gave. What about for people, maybe they just lost their business? Maybe they had a family member who passed away due to COVID or something else, and they're so angry. They're filled with anger. How do you help them? What would you suggest to help them break down that so that they can move forward?
Well, I like to use the term fake it till you make it. If you don't have a good attitude, you're not positive, you better act like you are. And the more you continue that, putting a positive spin on everything, that will help you and others. Nobody's going to want to reach out and help somebody that's doom and gloom, and they'll help people that are positive, and that's what you got to focus on. That always be a good listener too, because you can learn something from anybody if you just listen. Some of the greatest lessons I've learned were from some of the worst people, because I learned I don't want to be like that.
Earl, they're Earl's Pearls. They're amazing. That was a great segue for where I was hoping we would go next. Seniors helping seniors. So when you just talked about listening, I found that in this country, over a certain amount of time, the way that seniors are perceived is not the same as in other countries or how it used to be, whereas seniors should be put on a pedestal. Seniors have all this experience and wealth of knowledge and are more than willing to help other people. But yet there was some digression or movement to that the millennials are the ones that everybody should listen to. So I love the work that you're doing with seniors, and I wish you could share more about that with us.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I started the Boomer Connection TV program, because whether you're a senior or whether you're a caregiver for a senior, there's certain things you got to know, like succession planning, wealth management, health and fitness. And so that's one of the reasons why I started that program, is so that we could share our expertise with one another. And not only that, you know, I mean, I'm in my 70s, and I've been a caregiver till last year. You know, my mother-in-law was in her 90s. So we're talking to the same people in many cases. You're a caregiver, but you're also a senior.
Great point. And also during this pandemic, generations have been moving back together. So it's really important to understand what seniors are feeling. I just know my own situation with family members. There's a lot of fear. There's fear of dying. Then there's the whole thing of isolation, what it means when you feel trapped because of a pandemic. And so if we stay isolated in terms of not communicating with one another, then that's not good for anyone. And I feel like seniors have so much to share, and that we really should just applaud them and help out in any way that we can, as well as with caregivers. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I like what you talked about feeling isolated, particularly now with the COVID-19, and as you get a senior, become a senior, and you're not active in the workplace. Becoming a senior does not necessarily, shouldn't mean that your mind retires. And so continuing to learn things, continuing to network, continuing to be interested in things, I think is as much importance to our health as our physical fitness.
Yes, I would agree with you. And I think also there was a certain age when people would retire. I don't remember what that age is now, but people are working more and more. And I think that the reason they're doing that is because they find a passion. So in other words, if there's something you're really passionate about, why should you stop doing it because you get to be a certain age? Would you agree with that?
Well, let me touch on that. That's a good subject. One of the things I feel like is that if people want to retire and have a better sense of security, especially if you're in business, is train those that are your proteges that are going to take over. I mean, for the first 15 years of my entrepreneurship, I couldn't do anything except work. The last 15 years, I could pretty much go and do anything my wife and I wanted to, but the foundation was not what I built, but what I started. And I always say, I put the train on the track, but it takes another group, the younger folks, to keep it there.
I love that. I put the train on the tracks. That's great. So at what point in time should you start recruiting, training your protege?
From the day you go in business. And you don't even have to be in business. If you're on any place that you're working, if you want to move up, the way to do that is have somebody that can replace you. And so the earlier you start, the better. When I went to work at Ethel Corporation, it didn't take me long to learn that because it can be a dangerous environment in the industry sometimes. So I figured the best thing I can do is learn a lot about safety and work with older people and benefit from their knowledge. And that's something I carried into business.
Can you tell us about the community of seniors? I know that your group did some interviews for your, I think there were 16 seniors you interviewed. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, we did 4 episodes of Boomer Connection. Our goal was to try to create a program that would be embraced by some of the senior organizations like AARP and some of the others, but the COVID-19 set us back. But I went through and I wrote down things that I felt like I needed to know or someone else needed to know. For example, I moved from Louisiana to Texas. Well, how you handle Medicaid, Medicare, and dealing with the elderly is different than in Louisiana. So you have to learn that. The same way with wealth management and especially succession planning. These all take things that if you're a senior and you don't learn these, you may not pay the price, but your family's going to pay it.
Somebody else will. Yeah. So it sounds like you have to start early, and then you have to surround yourself by people who are where you want to be. So they already know what you don't know. And so you team together with people like that. And then it's more than helping just yourself. You're basically setting your family up to succeed.
I agree. And another thing I really encourage everybody to do is give back. And it's not just monetarily. If you can give back your experience, your support, a kind word can save a life. And one of these projects that I got involved over here in Tech, matter of fact, I showed it on the video. When I moved to Texas, I learned about a group called the Sailing Angels. And it's people with sailboats and powerboats, and they take handicapped people out and veterans, battered families, and that's what I would encourage everybody is to get involved in something where you're extending a helping hand to others. And that helping hand doesn't always have to have money in it. It helps when it does. But that's what I would recommend to everybody.
That's great direction. We're going to take another commercial break. We'll be right back. We're going to hear from Mindy Thomas. Stay with us. We're here with Earl Heard on I Have a Story to Tell.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Thomas, founder of Thomas Career Consulting. If you are dealing with the stress of having been terminated or being laid off, considering a career change, or you simply cannot land a job with your current resume, you came to the right place. My professional expertise centers on being trained in two distinct areas, career counseling and career marketing. I am also the host of Career Chat, a weekly talk show which appears on RVN TV. My end game is helping you to overcome the self-doubt, the fear, and the other barriers you are facing right now in a very tricky, perplexing, and complicated job market. .5 seconds. That's how much time it takes a recruiter to scan your resume. On top of that, electronic applicant tracking systems may reject you even if you have the skills, education, and experience. I teach you how to win when you absolutely have to. My resume writing practice is built on a personalized, collaborative, and strategic approach that showcases your accomplishments in a way to get you noticed. At the center of my strategy is identifying your strengths and targeted keywords to make you stand out from the competition. As a professional resume writer, I know what it takes to impress even the most discriminating hiring manager. Changing careers, launching a new one, overwhelmed or stuck in a dead-end job? I have more than 2 decades of experience as a Georgetown-trained leadership coach, resume writer, career counselor, and recruiter. So whether you're a student, a top executive, or simply struggling to find your own career identity and you're feeling lost, you can count on me to lead you through the journey of self-discovery. I will formulate a step-by-step plan that begins with the assessment of your skills, your interests, your values, and your personality, and then explore the opportunities that are best suited to align with you. In essence, what makes sense for you? With 25 years of business experience, I have been privileged to work with a diverse group of adults, from young high school students to the millennials, the generation X, Y, and Z, and boomers. Let me put that to work for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I have a story to tell. We are live on Business Talk Radio and social media. And telling us his story today is Earl Heard. He is the founder and CEO of BIC Alliance. So we're going to have you back on the business show. We're really going to dig into all the work that you've accomplished to build that empire. I'm wondering, what is next for you?
Well, right now, of course, I'm pretty much totally retired except for BIC Media. I guess my next step is, as it relates to business, is to partner with others to turn, especially Rock Bottom and Back and Boomer Connection, into an ongoing series. I really believe that between helping those at Rock Bottom and helping seniors and caregivers, we can change the world and make it a better place. And I just want to, I've kind of like I said earlier, I've put the train on the track. Now what I want to do is get good partners that can take it to the next level. And I might close with this, Dr. Jacalyn. One thing I've always said in all my training, and I've made it a fact in my own life, today is the first day in the rest of our lives. What we've done in the past that's the past. So if we focus on the future, building our faith, building our relationships, then success is going to follow. And success is not necessarily money in the bank. It's how you feel in your heart. And that's what I would encourage everybody to do. The choice is ours.
That was a great way to close out the program. Thank you, Earl. I've been streaming your website information if people want to get in touch with you. And so for people on the radio listening, it's BIC Alliance, BIC Alliance.com. Is there any other way or anyone that people should reach out to, or should they just go to the website?
Well, I would, you could also check out BIC Media Solutions.com. You can look for our movies on a Dove channel. Our books are available on Amazon, and I just, check out BIC Media and BIC Alliance and see if there's any way that we can help anyone, and just let us know.
Well, thank you so much for that offer to our audience. We certainly appreciate it. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And I'm very excited for our upcoming interviews, Earl.
Well, thank you again for inviting me, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Bye.
Thank you. Same here. Bye-bye. Wow, what an incredible person. And he's all about giving back. And I would just urge everyone watching and listening during this time of pandemic that still continues on. I'm reading stories about people who've been vaccinated and 7 weeks later they're getting the virus. Try to help other people. Just pick up the phone and call someone and see how they're doing, or maybe offer to drop food off to someone's house, leave it outside. There's so many ways that you can get involved and give back. I just want to share that I'm very passionate about the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. I've been a patient since 1991, and I'm usually in an active flare for 6 months every year. So I'm on the board and I do a lot of fundraising. So I have an event coming up, which is the Take Steps Walk. And if you go to my Facebook page, I would love if you would donate. And it means so much to me. Seriously, if it's $1, $5, whatever you can give, because we really need to find cures. People are suffering. I run support groups and people are going through a really hard time. So if you would do that, I'd really appreciate it. And that's, you can go to Dr. Jacalyn on Facebook. Thank you. I also want to just mention the shows we have upcoming for today. At 3:30, we have Pet Psychic Amina, and our guest is Oscar Garcia. At 5 p.m., we have Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And we have Alan Bourgeois. And as I mentioned before, I've interviewed him. He has an incredible story of adversity that he's overcome. At 6 o'clock, we have The Variety Show. And my co-host is Lori Mendelson, and our guest is Nancy Zurin. And she is Reiki for pets. So I think that's really interesting. I've not heard anything about that before. So I look forward to it. So thank you again for watching. We really appreciate you. And if you have any topics that you're interested in having us speak on, please go to drjacalyn.com. Also, if you want to be a guest, we'd love to have you. Go to drjacalyn.com. Anything that in reference to this show and our programming, we have 14 shows now every week. They are all on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we'd love to have you engage with us. Thanks so much. We'll see you hopefully at 3:30 Eastern Time.
I tried to ignore it, but my stomach issues were out of control. I couldn't fix them on my own. It was time to do something. A friend said the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation could help me find a specialist. Feels good to finally have a plan. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.